Dr. Karen Johnson, we're so honored and grateful to have you with us today. Congratulations on your recent appointment to our brand new state agency. Would love to give you an opportunity to share a little bit about that. But for this purpose of this interview, we're just really excited to give our readers and viewers an opportunity to get to know you a little bit. So thank you so much again for joining us. My name is Sharon Armstrong. I am a member of BUILD and a co-leader of the communications subcommittee. I also work with OSPI as a training specialist for McKinney-Vento. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And with that, I would love to just dive in and ask you some questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready, and thank you for having me today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so Dr. Johnson, first of all, can you talk to us a little bit about your new appointment, what it is and what it means to you?
Whew, this is a momentous occasion, and it means the world to me because it's going to have the opportunity to make such a difference in the lives of so many. And first off, just a shout out to Governor Inslee for boldly putting forth his historic equity, diversity, and inclusion package, a $365 million package for equity-related decision packages, budget items, and for believing that one day Washington State will be anti-racist. How exciting is that to be a part of this pivotal time in history?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so with that, and you started to answer this next question a little bit just in that response, but what
Mhm.
would you say inspired you the most about taking on the challenges that we face as a state, particularly around equity?
Well, that's a good question. Um, my staff, the team of rock stars that have been entrusted to my care for the last 2.5 years, really inspired me to take the challenge. And they used my own words against me. They said that I was born for this role. They said now is the time to do this work on a larger scale. And they also said that my gift and calling, um, others needed it. And I'm envisioning that your Office of Equity is going to take this calling seriously, that we're going to work to develop a state culture that centers equity in all of our interactions, all of our programs, and our operations. I also was inspired by Dr. King is one of my role models, and he was a ambassador for social justice as well as an ambassador for human rights, all humanity. And I have a picture of him, as a matter of fact, staring at me on the wall. And he really also inspired me to do this work, notwithstanding my creator who loves everybody, who created all humanity. And I'm delighted to be part of it.
Yes, absolutely. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. So moving on to another question. Um, what would you identify as short and long-term goals that you are bringing into your new assignment?
Well, thank you for this interview. As a matter of fact, I agreed to it to give it to Build first so you can help me get the word out that immediately I need to first start the position, March. Immediately, I need to hire someone to help me. And then immediately, I'm going on vacation. So those are my immediate goals. Then from April to June, I plan to do a lot of look, listen, and learn. I want to look at what's currently going on, listen to anyone who wants to talk with me, legislators, agency heads, members in communities who've been traditionally and historically underrepresented, marginalized, and continue to be in some cases, in the business community. I really want to look, listen, and learn to see what's going on, hear what's in people's hearts for this work while hiring staff so that come July 1, we'll be able to roll out and identify what we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. When I have some team to do all the wonderful work that you are going to say you want this office to do between now and June.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you
Uh,
ask me long term as well?
I did. Yes.
Long term, fundamentally, I would like for your Office of Equity to be able to lay a good, solid foundation, sustainable foundation for this work so that we could really begin to bridge opportunity gaps and reduce disparities that people are experiencing in their lives. We want this work to outlive us down through the generations when Washington State is an anti-racist state and people from around the world want to come to live here, play here, and be here. That's the long-term goal.
Absolutely, and thank you for that. I can tell you from somebody who is part of the superintendent's office and part of that team, working with Superintendent Reichdahl from an educational standpoint. Everything that you're saying definitely resonates with us as well. And we're just so excited on that end of things to see some of the changes that can come to the educational system as well through
Exactly.
equity and through your office. So just wanted
Exactly.
to give a little shout out to the to OSPI and that incredible team as well. We're
Yes, well,
just super excited that you're here.
You've got
So,
Gerari over there, so rocks.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Exactly. Okay. So another question. What do you anticipate being some of the greatest challenges that you're facing in your new assignment? And I know you spoke to that to some extent, or maybe on the peripheral. Is there any, are there any other specific challenges that you have identified already?
Well, that's funny you asked that question. This is one of the questions that the governor asked me in my interview, and pretty much the answer is the same. I love building, so I'm excited about what comes with starting something new, right? There's going to be some opposition, some early adopters, but I think the greatest challenge, as I mentioned in that interview, is remembering to sleep,
Mm,
remembering to eat, and remembering sometimes you have to go slow in order to go fast. I don't want to leave anyone behind. Clearly, everyone is not as passionate about this work as I. And so, remembering to sleep, remembering to eat, and remembering sometimes you have to go slow to go fast. There's a proverb that says, if you want to go far, go alone. Or if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
mm,
You want to go far, and I want to go together.
wisdom right there. Thank you so much. Um, Okay, so I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about the resource groups and specifically build, maybe
Mhm.
specifically build, but really across the board because we know that the groups tend to represent those who uh, are not necessarily part of the dominant culture in our
Right.
country. So, what would you say the resource groups should be hopeful about and looking forward to as you embark in your important work?
Well, what the Business Resource Group should be hopeful uh, about is having the time of their life. My background is that of the Avengers. Many have heard me talk about that we, in this new decade, are the Avengers. We are going to be in a fight for humanity, and we will have the opportunity to rebuild that society that we want to live in and generations yet to come. So business resource groups, and the governor just put out an executive order, 2101, reaffirming his commitment to the business resource groups and their roles. And I'm really excited about that because I envision us working hand in glove. The business resource groups working with the Office of Equity hand in glove to undertake those business initiatives that improve outcomes for all people, that increase employee engagement of all people. Like you said, many of the business resource groups are for individuals who have been and continue to be minoritized and marginalized. And we want them to be engaged when they come to work. It's also an opportunity to be hopeful for us to amplify the voice of Black people build, Latinx people, leadership network. All voice amplify the voices of all of those who've been unheard and many of whom are members of research groups. And finally, to help lay that infrastructure I was talking about, lay that foundation to advance equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism now and for the generations to come. You know, fundamentally, the Office of Equity with the business resource groups, this is really our opportunity to do some good work toward Washington State becoming that anti-racist, equitable, fully inclusive, multicultural state where everybody wants to come live or visit.
Wonderful.
We're gonna have fun days. Avengers Assemble. This is where I say that's all members, what current and future, I believe is what the governor wrote in the executive order. All business resource group members, Avengers, your Avengers, assemble. We've got work to do.
That is wonderful. And the numbers are significantly growing and rapidly growing of members of the resource groups, reflective of agencies from all across Washington State, highly professional, highly skilled, excited people who are ready to roll up our sleeves and get to work with you. So
wonderful.
yes, so thank you for that. At this point, and I know I talked about challenges, maybe barriers look a little bit differently and maybe they don't. Can you speak to that a little bit?
You know, I'm totally optimistic. I haven't even really thought about barriers. You know, again, this is a building project. We get to co-create where we center equity in everything that we think, say, and do. Very exciting. Barriers might be, I don't know, we could always use more time and yet because our team has not yet been assembled and we have not yet really thought through how we're going to, what all we're going to do, it's going to be difficult to even identify barriers. And we know in the larger society, there are those who don't want to talk about racism, don't believe that it exists. We know that there are challenges, yet I do believe that fundamentally everybody wants to be included, valued, and heard. Fundamentally, everybody wants to bring their A game to work. Fundamentally, people want to do good work together. And I just believe that that is the tone and tenor of the Office of Equity. And we just look forward to partnering with everyone in the state, right? Who has a vested interest in the success of other human beings that we live together with to co-create a seamless, integrated, world-class system, service delivery system, so that all Washingtonians have access to the opportunities, to the resources, the power that they need to achieve and to enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is each person's right, and that's what we're going to do. So any barriers to that, we just see as opportunities to get more to join us in this great work.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so a couple of reflective questions for you just about your personal background in these last couple of minutes. So in terms of your career path and what your background has looked like leading into this opportunity, would love for you to share a little bit about that. And then also any mentors or people who played a significant role in inspiring you along the way. We'd love to hear about that as well.
Well, at the time that you have limited, certainly one can read the bio or the press release. However, you know, when you're talking about a career path, really it was more of a journey. I have to say that I was and continue to be a truly blessed woman. You know, in short, I was in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, to be discovered by the right person who gave me the right assignments that prepared me for the right positions at the right time. Similar to this. You know, I started as an occupational therapist, Shout out to all veterans in the Department of Veterans Affairs. I've worked back then it was personnel, now it's human resources. Have worked overseeing equal employment opportunity in 44 hospitals in 14 Midwestern states. Worked in the South where I was first called a Yankee, and was mentored really by my parents, mentored by the words in red in the Bible. And you have to really give a shout out to white males who were leading good old boy networks, as we call them, last century, who were in positions of power where you did not see many women at all, could count them on one hand in the Department of Veterans Affairs on its 282 medical centers. Very few Black male leaders, you could count them on one hand, and they opened the door for me. As a matter of fact, I reached out to two of them, one is in Texas and one is in Arizona now, and they're very proud to know that one of their mentees, one of their proteges that they opened doors for, has had the opportunity to once again serve the citizens, the Washingtonians, in a meaningful way.
That is so wonderful, and I'm sure that they're just beyond honored to have worked with you and played a small role in this opportunity that you have before you now. So
yes.
That is just wonderful and so inspiring. Before we end today, well, two questions. One, what advice would you give Build members regarding our own career advancement? And then lastly, anything else that you would like to share with us?
For Build members regarding your career advancement, I would say write your obituary. Those things that you want people to say about you after you're gone, and then today set out to do exactly what you wrote without apology. When you asked me the question a few minutes ago about some of the barriers I face in reflection, I'm thinking that the most significant barrier that I faced throughout my career was lack of confidence in my ability. Many of you look at me now and say, "What, Dr. J?" Well, Dr. J hasn't always been this. I'm a continuous learner, grower, right? That's why I believe that just as we learned to engage in racist practices, we can unlearn those and really begin to bridge some of these opportunity gaps so people can put a roof over their head, food on their table, clothe the babies, educate the children, take care of their aged parents, and make sure if something goes wrong with their health that they don't go bankrupt. So we can do this. In closing, I'm thinking now of my dad, who was my number one cheerleader. And he always told me that Karen, you can do anything you want to do. Now, there are going to be consequences for your actions that you choose, positive or negative. But in the bottom line, you have to live with the person staring back with you in the mirror and the one who made you, and let that be your guide. So this is for Dad. And this assignment is also for my team who had faith in me and encouraged me to go after this assignment. And I do want to close by saying this one is also for Governor Inslee and anyone else who really envisions a Washington state that is fully inclusive, anti-racist, and equitable. We are here to transform state and local government, and I'm absolutely delighted to serve as the inaugural director of the newly created Office of Equity. I can't do it alone. The team I'm about to build, we won't be able to do it alone. We are going to do this together. This is not just our work. This is our work.
And I'm sure I speak for everyone again when I say we are so excited to for the opportunity to work with you, and that you're coming on board in this incredible position at such a time as this. So we would love to have you back again sometime down the road after
Yes.
we've had an opportunity to do some of the work and revisit some of the work that we've done. So again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll just look forward to great things.
Thank you. Avengers Assemble. See you on the other side.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. So Gary, I think maybe we can